What's up, everybody? Jason from Jason's Exotic Reptiles back at you with another video. Today we're going to dive into another one of the hottest debates in the reptile industry, and that is feeding live versus frozen. Before we dive in the video, I'm on a Brazilian rainbow boa kick because we just had some really cool babies. This is a T-positive albino Brazilian rainbow boa, one of my favorites from 2022. So this is a 2022 baby, super cool eyes. She stood out and I said, I'm gonna keep her. I really liked her and I kept her, and here she is a couple years later. But this is a beautiful little T-positive albino Brazilian rainbow boa. Let's dive into the video. This is a big topic with a lot of feelings in it. So we're going to talk about the pros and cons and really try to break it down of why one is superior over the other, or why there's a best use case for both. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up. It really helps support this channel. So make sure to do that now. Don't wait till the end until you forget. It helps this channel grow and helps me continue to making these videos. Let's get into it. We're going to start with the frozen thawed. We're going to talk about the pros and cons. So the clear advantage of frozen thawed is there's really three that I can put this into. One is safety, two is affordability, and three is convenience. So safety is when you're feeding a frozen thawed rodent, there's clearly very little risk involved with feeding this thing to the animal. There's no chance of it getting bit by the frozen thawed rodent. There's no chance of it really getting harmed in any way unless you're feeding some really old frozen rodents that have been sitting out thawing for 2 days, which I would avoid. But if you're taking a frozen rodent right out of your freezer, you're defrosting it and you're feeding it, there's really very minimal risk in feeding these things to your animals. The next one is convenience. I always have them. I can get them right out of my freezer, thaw them out, and within a couple hours, depending on the rodent size, from anywhere from a couple minutes for a little pinky to maybe a half a day for something really large, I can be feeding these animals. The third reason is affordability. Generally, frozen is going to be a lot cheaper than buying live. I don't know why that is, but it's probably because there's a lot more suppliers supplying the frozen rodents to you. So if I buy live, there's somebody locally that I need to deal with to get that live. If I buy frozen, I can deal with maybe 10 or 15 different sources that they can be halfway across the country from me, and the next day I have their frozen rodents at my door. So I think because the competition is stronger on frozen, they need to give more aggressive pricing. Otherwise, you're going to be looking at the local pet store for the live feeders or a local breeder. With that in mind, there are some downsides to feeding frozen. The biggest downside that I would say is that not all snakes will take frozen. Now, certain species like Burmese pythons, boas, they're going to take those right away, and most colubrids are going to take them instantly, even as little babies. But some snakes, such as ball pythons, they kind of go through this cycle where they need live meals. They're a little bit pickier, so those species that prefer live, they're going to struggle at times, and sometimes they don't want frozen. And that's kind of given us a good transition into the pros and cons of live. Keeping on that theme of those stubborn eaters, that is probably the biggest advantage of feeding live, is almost all snakes are going to take a live meal. It doesn't matter if it's a Dumerl's boa or a boa constrictor, Burmese python, retic, or ball python, they're going to take live. It encourages that natural predatory instincts. The prey is the right size, it has a nice fresh smell to it, and it identifies it right away. When you're feeding frozen, it's not always the right temperature. Sometimes snakes, specifically wild caught and some of those more picky eaters, and oftentimes baby snakes, baby boas, baby burms, you usually will need 1 or 2 live meals to get them kick-started to recognize that this scent is something that I can eat. And at first, some of them will take it right from the start, especially if you thaw them properly and you get them to the right temperature. They'll take that frozen, but many of them will need just that little bit of recognition to understand that, again, this scent that I'm going after, it smells just like the thing I ate last week, which was live, and they might try it. So sometimes you need a couple live meals to get new babies going. Sometimes you have wild-caught animals that just have no recognition of what this frozen is. They've been eating live meals their entire life, and there's no switching them over. So it has a good place for them. But oftentimes you can work to switch them over. Wild-caught, ball pythons, whatever it is, baby snakes, many times those animals, after time, will start associating that frozen thawed with an actual edible food item, and they're going to go for it. You have that real good advantage of when you feed live, the snake is almost always going to want it. But the biggest drawback to that is the safety of the animal. Now, I have personally, even this year, I had a snake, a baby snake. They weren't eating frozen. I gave it a live mouse, and it actually bit the boa right in the tip of its lip, which caused its lip to split. So this does happen. This is nothing wrong with the snake, but it did get injured from that. You have to be very aware of what animals, especially at a scale like mine, I put the live prey in, because I never want to walk away and forget there's a live mouse or live rat in the cage. I very rarely feed live, and if I do, it's only to get the baby started. But even in that 1 or 2 feeds, a snake can catch the mouse just at the wrong angle, and it can injure the animal, and therefore that animal just got hurt because I was feeding it live. So that's kind of the 2 factors I was going for, is I either wait it out and it potentially starves, or I feed it a live meal, get its system going on recognition of prey, and then I can transition to frozen. One advantage of feeding live that people will often make in the argument of this is why I feed live is that I can dictate the diet. I'm going to raise the animals up myself, the feeders, and I'm going to feed them what I want. At the same time, I could make that same argument that, well, I can raise them up, humanely euthanize them, and then feed them frozen to my animal. And I still know the exact diet that went into both of them. If you're feeding them fresh and you just euthanize them, there really is no downside or really any heavy degradation of the nutritional value of these animals. There's nothing been proven to say that a frozen versus a live is less nutritious to the animal. So that argument kind of goes out the window, and it's more personal feelings taking over. So how do you decide? My personal opinion is I would always recommend just feeding the frozen to your animals. It's safer, more cost-effective, and more convenient overall. You can get it from a huge variety of suppliers, from local to long distance, and you can get them just more conveniently. It saves you a whole lot of time, as I can come down the night before, everything's done, I can feed everything, and I'm ready to go. I don't need to go out and buy from somebody who's breeding live. I can just have everything at my fingertips. I can keep it in stock. I never need to worry about somebody's supply demand and if they have what I need, and it's just overall safer for your reptiles. Now, again, if you need to feed live for those one-off animals, then you have to do what you need to do. But my personal recommendation is to feed frozen. There just really is no big advantage to feeding live. If you disagree or you agree, let me know in the comments. I'm curious to know your thoughts on this. Till next video, let's keep it moving.